let's talk about some of its recommendations. It called for an overhaul of the state pension system and basically ending state pensions as we know them and turning them into more of a 401k type plan. Pension reform 2.0, it's sometimes been called. Do you support that?
Well, there's a number of proposals that they've done. Excuse me, that task force put there. And let's go back and understand what that task force really was. Senate President proposed the task force to look at ways of making New Jersey more affordable. Majority Leader Lou Greenwald, my budget chair, Eliana Pinter-Marin, who just, by the way, did a phenomenal job in the budget process, were added because we wanted to be part of bringing together experts from across.
So it wasn't just
spectrum.
a Senate task force; it
no,
was a joint task force.
It was Majority Leader Greenwald served as one of the chairs, but the purpose of that committee was to bring forth ideas, and they did. You know, these were recognized experts from various fields and did terrific work on behalf of the state to try to bring out some ideas because we recognize. And I agree with this. I think most of everyone does. New Jersey is an expensive state, and we need to do what we can to make it more affordable. We have to, you know, we face challenges across the board at controlling expenses. It's something we ought to do all the time. And so their job was to report, and now our job is to decide what, if any, of those proposals we want to move forward with.
There's
so I'm not committed to
three big ones: reform the pensions, consolidate the schools, do away with K-8 school districts or K-6 school districts and put them into a regional high school district, and put tolls on interstates where there are no tolls now. Where do you stand on each of those? Well, pensions.
I think that in all of these proposals, the devil is in the details. So when we're talking about pension reform or tolls increases, consolidating schools, there's a process that has to go on, Michael. That's what I mean about being thorough and thoughtful. Before we can answer the question, we should support things that are right and make sense and are done in the right way.
You're not ready to commit to any of those?
No, not yet. We're doing our work in the Assembly now. You know, so for example, you want to talk about consolidating something? Tell me how much money we're going to save. Tell me how much money it's going to cost up front. Is the savings initially?
Did that report have the number?
No, it didn't have those numbers. So that's the kind of thing that you have to go to before you commit. That's a big proposal, and I'm not opposed to bold ideas, but I think we have to understand what that means in its totality.
Sweeney, I believe, has embraced those issues, so he has to bring you along if any of that's going to get done, right?
Well, as we talked about before, there's three of us who have to agree. Because I have the ability to decide whether to post something in the Assembly. I mean, that's the process, right? The Senate President has to post it in the Senate. Assembly Speaker has to post it in the Senate, in the Assembly, and the Governor has to sign it. That's why they talk about the three of us being, you know, in charge. And when look, there's a process that ought to go on and does when we talk about legislation. You need to hear from the stakeholders. You need to hear from the people who live this stuff day to day. You have to have real understanding of what the impact is, not just immediately, but long term. You have to try to rely on real facts and real data. That's what you have to do. And so we're going through that process now. Look, that's going to be one of the things that dominates the fall, the conversations around those issues.
We have 30 seconds left.